I'm not sure if you've been paying attention to the news lately. Not a lot of people have if you look at their ratings. In fact, Ancient Aliens is beating primetime news in views. The press is under attack. They shriek at us anytime somebody confronts them about their disregard for journalistic ethics. Bring up their obvious dishonesty, their willingness to put out fake and sometimes even full-on staged news stories, apparently in order to scare the public, and they shrivel into a raisin of outrage. Any tweet President Trump sends out that questions them in any way is paraded on the news for an entire day about how heroic they are. If you can remember, just about a week ago, an article on CNN claimed that the press are actually more brave than soldiers. Remember this joke?
If I could give you a Purple Heart, I would. You deserve one.
As you can see, this is what qualifies as bravery to these people. All of those people in danger zones, half a world away from home, they are simpletons and plebes compared to the avatars of the free press, who see mean words on the internet and just won't have it. While half of the talking heads spout the same nonsense about how brave they are because somebody made a tweet about them, the other half is working on advocating for shutting down their competitors. Alex Jones is harmful for dialogue, they say, while looking down at us, while at the same time staging literal fake stories themselves. If you can't break the news, make the news, am I right? It's clear as day that these people are far from heroic, brave, or even honest. They work for an organization that actively misinforms the public in order to bring about their donors' political ends. They are the equivalent of state television, but with oligarchs instead of government. They are an organization that is a clear and present danger to the citizens of the United States, but also the country itself. I do not make this statement lightly. Just last year, they blackmailed a private citizen into an apology, gloating that they would release his information to the public if they decided his apology wasn't sincere enough. What did this person do, you might ask? Well, they made a gif of President Trump punching CNN, and this drove them hysteric. Brian Stelter, who looks like an actual Goomba, and another named Andrew Kaczynski from K-File, actively sought this person's identity in order to intimidate them. This is the free press, after all. This person should never have made a mockery of them. This week, the trial of Paul Manafort began. The trial of a decade, they say, as he's being tried for tax evasion. That's right, the smoking gun, the opus magnus of Mueller's investigation involves none other than a tax evasion case. Mueller is really showing off his expertise in his years of work. Due to the media's obsession with anything tangentially related to President Trump, if it paints him unfavorably, they have been frothing at the mouths as this trial has gone on. The trial will resume on Monday. On Friday, CNN made a request to a federal judge to dox the jurors in the Manafort trial to leak both their names and their addresses to the public. I don't feel right if I release their names, says U.S. District Judge T.S. Ellis, who was requested by CNN and others to release the names and addresses of the jurors involved in the Manafort case. Why would people like CNN do this? Or as CNN contributor Matt Dornick has clarified, CBS, Washington Post, BuzzFeed, Politico, the New York Times, NBC, and the Associated Press. Why would they all do this? Hey sir, I'll have you know that all of us are hacks. Point noted, Matt. You are all, indeed, hacks. He calls it legal transparency, but I for one don't trust the press with any information that is sensitive. Here's a short bit from the Federalist article. The Federalist reported that CNN, along with a conglomerate of other media outlets, filed a motion Friday morning to publicly reveal the names and home addresses of those serving on the jury in the trial after jurors asked the judge questions that legal experts interpreted as favorable for Manafort's defense attorneys and unfavorable for the prosecution. So, they wanted to dox the jurors because things weren't going their way. The only reason they felt that the information should be made public is so that their Antifa cronies could attempt to change their minds, as they noticed that this was going in the opposite direction that they preferred. I think this is a new low, even for them. So now that we have that story out of the way, let's take a look at some of CNN's past. Here's possibly the most well-known fake news story that they have done. This is Chris Cuomo.
Also interesting is, remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learn about this, you're learning from us.
And here is his brother, Andrew Cuomo, who has possibly the best political mantra I have ever heard. We suck. Vote for me. What a winning strategy.
We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great.
Here is another clip from years ago. Some people might ask themselves, how long has CNN been like this? It has only been since Trump that they have gone downhill. But that's where they would be wrong. Here is a clip from the early 90s of Larry King caught on a hot mic telling Bill Clinton that Ted Turner, who owns CNN, would serve him. Watch.
Crazy. Ted Turner changed the world. I'm a big fan of yours. Is he? He would serve you at that. You know what I mean? I'm surprised. He's ready. What's he got left in the game? After you're elected, think about it. No dope.
That's for sure.
Great guy to work for, too.
Now here are a few clips of them cutting people off mid-sentence and pretending that it was due to technical issues.
To this era of mass incarceration that she now speaks out again.
We just lost Breonna Keeler, who was in.
The fact through WikiLeaks that she says one thing and
Oh, no. All right, let's see if we can get Congressman Collins back. Obviously, we just lost his satellite feed. That sucks.
CNN fake news. What do you think?
You don't buy
it. That was a joke.
I know it was a joke. I'm saying you don't buy what he said, obviously.
Aaron?
Yes. It looks like we've lost connection with Senator Sanders, so let's just try to get that back up.
This next clip is a bit of a miscellaneous clip. If you look around YouTube for clones or supposed drones that work in the mainstream media, you will likely see this clip. This woman looks like she is booting up like a computer.
I'm sorry. I was in a trance. Yeah.
I mentioned earlier about CNN staging a story. Here is footage of a supposed candlelight vigil at the London Bridge that was entirely staged. Somebody was there and filmed the entire thing, them pointing crisis actors to sit in the right spots in order to be in the shot. As you can see, all of the people that were there are doing as they're told, put in place by producers in order to create a compelling story. If we wanted to look at every instance of dishonesty from CNN, let alone the entire corporate media spectrum, we would never have time to sleep. We could probably spend an entire hour on Jim Acosta, CNN's White House correspondent alone, and maybe another on their former intelligence officials. Isn't it strange that they bring on former CIA officers who tell us what to think and how to feel, and we're supposed to just eat it up? We could talk about CNN crew members filming Trump golfing while hiding in the bushes like some cartoon character. The instances are almost endless, but I think I've made my point clear. These outlets are a danger to the people they claim to provide truth to. They overlook any sort of common sense ethical code for the sake of achieving a preferable end to the outrage of the moment. I have some advice for CNN and the rest of the mainstream media that I came to after a simple search on the internet. I've never gone to journalism school, so I'm not a member of the free press. I'm not the avatar of truth like all of these armchair intellectuals on television. However, this advice is from the Society of Professional Journalists. Show compassion for those who may be affected adversely by news coverage. Use special sensitivity when dealing with children and inexperienced sources or subjects. Be sensitive when seeking or using interviews or photographs of those affected by tragedy or grief. Recognize that gathering and reporting information may cause harm or discomfort. Pursuit of the news is not a license for arrogance. I'll go ahead and repeat that last one. CNN, anybody at CNN listening to this video, you might want to jot this one down on a sticky note and place it on your monitor. Pursuit of the news is not a license for arrogance. Recognize that private people have a greater right to control information about themselves than do public officials and others who seek power, influence, or attention. Only an overriding public need can justify intrusion into anyone's privacy. Show good taste. Avoid pandering to lurid curiosity. Be cautious about identifying juvenile suspects or victims of sex crimes. Be judicious about naming criminal suspects before the formal filing of charges. And balance a criminal suspect's fair trial rights with the public's right to be informed. Just that last one, balance a criminal suspect's fair trial rights with the public's right to be informed. Do you think that for 1 second they have considered this for Paul Manafort? And this is no defense for Manafort, by the way. If you go through his family's text messages that have been made public, he's not the best guy in the world. No joke, he forced his brain-damaged wife to engage in, let's just say, black group activities while he watched. It was so bad that she had some sort of trauma stem from it, and it has literally shattered their entire family. Manafort, Flynn, Papadopoulos, none of those guys were given the presumption of innocence. So there isn't really much left to say on this topic. I mean, we've all known how corrupt the media has been for years now, and I think more people are opening up to it, but CNN has no shame, and apparently neither does any of the other outlets that were looking to leak this very sensitive information to intimidate these jurors. And last I checked, jury intimidation was illegal. But anyway, here it is, your moment of clarity.
I have to stop you there. No one fakes stories at CNN, and John Zarella definitely did not fake a story at CNN. You're very off base. I'm going to let you say your opinion, and let's have a conversation, but don't accuse our reporter of faking any story, sir.
Let me say it again in front of the whole country. Your reporter faked that story yesterday. It deliberately misread.
Oh, no. That sucks.